MYDR, far I-E-N-S. People are always going to do things that annoy you. They'll cut you off in traffic. They'll say things you disagree with. They'll show up late, forget something important, or maybe just have an attitude that rubs you the wrong way. And here's the truth. None of that is really about you. It's about them, their mindset, their stress, their life. And the moment you realize that you stop giving away your peace so cheaply. Because anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to get sick. It's heavy. It lingers. And most of the time, the other person has already moved on. So why hold on to it? Why let someone live rent free in your head when someone says or does something that could bother you? Try this pause just for a moment. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Does this really matter 5 minutes from now? 5 hours? 5 days? Almost always the answer is no. And even when it's yes, when it truly matters, you still get to choose how you respond. Calm doesn't mean weak. It means controlled. It means you're the one deciding what your emotions will do, not the other way around. So instead of reacting, observe. Instead of matching someone's negativity, protect your own peace. Don't pick up what isn't yours to carry. You can't control people, but you can control yourself. And when you do that consistently, you'll find that no one really makes you angry anymore. They just reveal the level of calm you've built within yourself. And that calm, that's power. Other people's actions reflect them, not you. Their behavior is about their mindset and life, not a personal attack. Anger only hurts you, not them. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself if the situation truly matters in the long run before giving it your energy. Choose response over reaction. Staying calm doesn't mean weak. It shows control and strength. Protect your peace. You can't control others, but you can control yourself, and that inner calm is true power. Want me to rewrite the speech into an even shorter, punchier version, like a quick motivational talk? Other people's actions reflect them, not you. Have you ever noticed how two different people can respond completely differently to the same situation? One person cuts you off in traffic and doesn't think twice, while another apologizes with a wave if they accidentally merge too quickly. The difference isn't you, it's them. It's their mood, their stress level, their upbringing, their current struggles, things you often can't see or know. This is the first truth you need to embrace. What people do and say is far more about who they are than about who you are. Think about it. If someone lashes out in anger, it's usually because they're carrying frustration from somewhere else. If they ignore you, maybe their mind is preoccupied with worries they're too proud or too afraid to share. If they speak harshly, it could be a reflection of how they speak to themselves inside their own mind. Most of the time, it's not personal, even if it feels that way. When we forget this, we make the mistake of internalizing other people's behavior. We take their words as a direct statement about our worth. Someone's bad mood suddenly becomes our problem. Someone's rude tone becomes our trigger. But here's the reality. Their actions are a mirror of their own internal state, not a measurement of your value. Imagine someone walks into a room carrying a cup filled to the brim. If that cup is full of coffee and they bump into you, coffee spills out. If it's full of water, water spills out. Whatever they're filled with, kindness, stress, anger, peace, is what spills out when life bumps them. When someone overflows with negativity, it's because that's what's inside of them, not because you caused it. This perspective is powerful because it frees you. It reminds you that you're not responsible for fixing, absorbing, or reacting to someone else's emotional state. You can acknowledge their behavior without letting it shape your own. You can say, that's about them, and move on. Does this mean you excuse bad behavior? No, it doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. But it does mean you don't let it invade your peace. You handle it with clarity rather than emotion. You set boundaries without anger. You respond with calm instead of matching their chaos. When you recognize that people are acting from their own internal world, you begin to see things with compassion instead of irritation. That person snapping at you might be dealing with hidden grief. That driver cutting you off might be rushing to the hospital. That coworker who's distant might be fighting battles you'll never know about. You don't have to excuse their actions, but understanding this truth makes it easier not to take it personally. So, the next time someone's words or actions tempt you to feel offended, pause and remind yourself this is about them, not me. Their behavior is a reflection of their journey, their struggles, their perspective, not your worth, not your value, not your identity. And when you hold on to that perspective, you stay rooted in your own calm. You stop living like a puppet pulled by other people's strings. Become the steady one in a world full of reactions. That is where real strength lies, not in controlling others, but in not letting others control you. Anger only hurts you, not them. Anger feels powerful in the moment. It surges like a wave of energy, demanding you act, speak, or respond. It tells you that you're justified, that you're standing up for yourself, that you're teaching someone a lesson. But here's the hard truth. Most of the time, your anger doesn't punish the other person. It punishes you. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Think about that. While you're replaying the moment in your head, while your chest feels tight and your thoughts spiral, the other person might not even be thinking about you. They've moved on, unaware or unconcerned. Meanwhile, you're carrying the weight of resentment, and it's only damaging your peace, your health, your clarity. Anger triggers stress hormones. Your heart beats faster, your body stays on high alert, and your mind stays stuck in a loop of conflict. Over time, it wears you down. It clouds your judgment, it steals your ability to think clearly, and it can even make you act in ways you later regret. So, while you're holding that anger, hoping it somehow balances the scales or makes you feel better, it's actually taking more from you than it ever gives. Now, this doesn't mean anger has no place. Anger can signal that something matters to you, that a boundary has been crossed, that an injustice is present. But there's a difference between feeling anger for a moment and holding on to anger like a burning coal in your hand. One is a message, the other is self-inflicted harm. When you hold on to anger, you're tying your well-being to someone else's actions. You're letting their behavior dictate your inner state. And here's the reality. You can't control what they did. You can't rewrite their choices. The only power you have is in how you carry yourself forward. So, what's the alternative? It's not pretending you're not hurt. It's not burying your emotions. It's acknowledging the anger, understanding why it's there, and then choosing not to let it lie rent-free in your mind. It's saying, this upset me, but I refuse to let it own me. Think of it like setting down a heavy bag. You don't forget it existed, you just decide not to keep dragging it with you everywhere. Letting go of anger doesn't mean the other person wins. It means you win. You take back control of your peace, your focus, and your energy. Sometimes the best response isn't revenge or even confrontation. It's calm detachment. Moving on so fully that the person or situation no longer has any hold on you. That's real strength. Because anyone can explode, anyone can shout. But it takes true power to feel anger, recognize it, and release it before it hardens into bitterness. And here's the irony, when you let go of anger, often gain clarity. You see the situation for what it truly was without the haze of emotion. You can choose your next step wisely, whether that's setting a boundary, having a calm conversation, or simply walking away. So the next time you feel anger rise up, ask yourself, who is this really hurting? Do I want to carry this, or do I want to be free? Because freedom doesn't come from holding on to anger. It comes from letting it go. Pause before reacting in the heat of the moment. Reacting feels automatic. Someone says something insulting and your instinct is to fire back. A driver cuts you off and your hand goes straight to the horn. A text comes in with a tone you don't like and you're already typing a reply. But here's the thing, reactions are impulsive. And impulsive reactions often create regret. That's why the pause is powerful. Just a breath, a single beat, a brief space between stimulus and response. It doesn't seem like much, but in that tiny space, you have the power to choose. You can ask yourself, does this really matter? Will this still bother me in 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days. More often than not, the answer is no. Think about all the times you've reacted instantly and later wished you hadn't. The angry email you sent without thinking. The words you said that you couldn't take back. The moment you matched someone's negativity instead of staying calm. Those reactions felt justified in the moment, but later they cost you peace. Pausing before reacting isn't about being passive. It's about being intentional. It's not about ignoring disrespect or pretending you're okay with everything. It's about stepping back long enough to respond with clarity instead of chaos. Because when you react without thinking, you give away control. You let the other person dictate your emotional state. But when you pause, you stay in charge of yourself. This pause creates perspective. Maybe the person who was rude to you is having a bad day. Maybe the situation that feels huge right now won't even matter tomorrow. Maybe it's not as serious as your first emotional response makes it seem. That little bit of space helps you see the bigger picture instead of getting trapped in the moment. And here's another truth: not everything deserves your energy. Some things are just noise. Some comments are better left unanswered. Some situations resolve themselves if you don't fuel them with your reaction. When you pause, you give yourself time to decide whether this moment is worth stepping into or if it's better to simply let it go. It's like when you see a spark. You can either fan it into a fire by reacting immediately, or you can just let it burn out on its own. Most sparks don't become fires unless we feed them. Pausing before reacting also helps you choose how to respond. Maybe you still need to address the situation, but you can do it calmly instead of emotionally. You can express your thoughts with strength instead of anger. That approach carries far more impact. People tend to listen to calm clarity more than heated emotion. So, how do you practice the pause? Start small. When something triggers you, take a deep breath. Count to 3. Remind yourself, I don't have to respond right now. Give your mind a moment to catch up with your emotions. That one simple step can completely change the outcome. And over time, this becomes a habit. You stop living in a state of constant reaction. You start living with intention. You realize that you don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to take every piece of bait thrown your way. You have the freedom to step back and decide if it's even worth it. So the next time life tries to pull you into a reaction, pause. Remember that this moment will pass, and most of the things that tempt you to react don't deserve the power you're about to give them. Save your energy for what truly matters, because the pause, that's where wisdom lies. Choose response over reaction. There's a subtle but powerful difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is immediate, emotional, and often impulsive. It's like a reflex. You feel provoked and you strike back without thinking. A response, on the other hand, is thoughtful, deliberate, and rooted in self-control. It takes the same situation but handles it with intention rather than impulse. And that difference is where your true strength lies. Many people mistake calmness for weakness. They think that if you don't explode, you're letting someone get away with something. But in reality, staying calm is one of the strongest things you can do. It means you're not letting someone else dictate your state of mind. It means you're not handing them the keys to your emotions. It means you're operating from a place of clarity, not chaos. Imagine someone insults you. A reaction would be to fire back with equal or greater force. You might feel a momentary sense of satisfaction, but what happens next? The situation escalates. The tension grows. Maybe you even say something you regret. A response, however, takes a beat. It evaluates whether this person's words are worth engaging at all. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Other times it's a calm, firm statement that sets a boundary without adding fuel to the fire. When you respond instead of react, you're choosing your behavior instead of being controlled by your emotions. You're saying, I decide how I show up in this moment, not my anger, not my frustration, not someone else's attitude. That's not weakness. That's mastery. 看事情，件事情有讓我去少比較嘢，and to the street can pay can have it become the faster. And think of it like a chess game 就是俾我哋嘅，there is 這些分別。 Restaurant talking if like a moving all a piece. If is seeming I open Odeon aka pl pinsa reaction dita thick and joy the tin. You thought things if I currently moving in a piece where seen in a quarantine 1 point at home hold the air the piece of war in our history and so clean is simple from you I couldn't margin with a pinsa line. Sauce the case if you can do buffet, the US and a card sank in the last become a tedakio pressure. John days, keep royal that whole day. Just be you feel pressured. Peace in my tire, only came PS and thought was hardest pieces. Arftens is seeing the fail, her poor day and are from plan. Isn't and there's something the whole board at it. The idea of a call, but the chancing is seeming the whole pew has the down. You sound you know, pillar. 田费可能被撇分的 consequences，谁看平常呢？而且 understanding the consequences， 评分就像它的贩卖的保险主义，究竟问题反复讲心理心理，那 understanding 可点点地方东西到了反弹没生理有否认呢？定 taser 去写的 update 的时候，搞一个 name 的表示一 pew making the more or making more of that actually serves you in the long following model. And it became if I were going to actually take that face it ingredient in a pesar or to show them to mention it which is right now. Now, when I'm young, small, with small mouth as I am, with a funky one of mine, we are also paying attention. I only continue going over 5 for the fresh, you can make sure family is safe within a brain. Quantum player often wins because goal cannot involving ones. So, hey, take me to Pano and not possible win games and yes. And nobody want out of your time. Boys outside. These are the water I am. Every vision is the more no kings or 10 coronation machines in all public. Yeah, you know, if there are having the lingual section. I mean, he can know that my head says I'll take anything one and go on here. They say, I'm not going to do it here. I can go out, talk from there now. I'm once. My thought, here's an amount for Chuidi commentative and afar, Kate Z, you're the beater, sponsor reaction. The put of me the taver young, though each Chinese parishes in reteacher, Hollywood not rubber hanging, sure not I am higher and I don't that would catch the lady. Go ahead to Chivania, reaction on a high range in your lounge on my son. I want you to list the red samples into the main models and they say, oh, yeah, go ahead, you'll find how we should. I'll be on the session for how should we go ahead, you know the reality. PFC 也必须是前面的陶术控的区的，否则每前年并反是要的听出感觉，第对嘛定确实别高，替我花付出皮鞋说对你上，先看 PV protect your 皮鞋的。Compindradi can tip in a miss, dragon volume, Q, T size for criticism, 5 months, on drowned in a draggy, unnecessary conflict gets. It only can on a nest, the predictive hatch, only espanas. Are you, like the husband said, can't I'm calling out game to my message, feeling it won't fit out. White man, you may have the only interest in your back, your home, comment, says. Me for I view often Earthy, I had for that palm west on their feet if I don't win them with this. That way you don't own with energy only be say. Unnecessary. For that too, you only key and free as zero. Time for that don't give me even down in your airments. Now there are all explanation when the negation only the secret most informative on that is to the kind of in the son wife. For me, no wish and sort of engineering energy top in the end. 好像我听蛮起波节目的，还能面了看 people， 佢都差住 for say negative of K， 阿边你的 in fact， 有人冇了一听hij voor， 佢都有出波你做嘢，反正阿一 paper 我产生来的蒙皮是 error core，so more has to make sure you transfer 我的 manager core 了，就我过生日他就问我空你传，所以现在也就以前的上面后面我传听给你，给你用的，我没有好多上I He of canafry, a epicar to he of was so shin possess of, pin cat bought for you stay in control of yourself. Tanai said his meditintimely, chanapichani, Salase quater, to stay in control of yourself. Pieces homoia, when visitor fickle touchers out of control, and if we worse on emishan de fiho pin, even when it's in everything around in this room, yeah, was a faint, I take me around the room, contents in the front, nor yet, Peter Wisher and bring what you wanted, you know, take on your say, you're up and set up him off and I understand penny 30 miles. I was going to still. I'll find this I see from both sides, the fate always knows. Alphonse Udas attempt, yeah, Cove, it also commands more respect. PMNB, hefting of I1 med man is perfekt detaljer en I answer validi, måste offentligt se fan med ett fanjula med övergreppskänslan med. If damten mate kar himi Peter Kashria kieg, you see kivrona saw fofu. Vi know in pana story team. That's also if you bailing a found in a sikvida sienas lang for this thing would can't people might try to provoke you. Could the civic high have in mouse spam can toision a beef, pin quinin, sukesh coca compomproa, and pun the CR yesha. So I've whole milk expecting you to a composure. He's a new composer here. Others, secting you air core posure. To a naughty, when you suffok but you be a sanitary to aim goal, bit of a broken time in the kind side hinting me, Antoine Estelle, the just you stay say. But when you stay steady, Tabaim pani chancho is I might be copy, easily shaken ID, to the Etienne pay here isa a shut him, Katien never doors, getting the casual, the coney fear the Ferrari, and give on our Conrad ocean your way. I do, you just want to hand out to be each in that way, money. Mim team side of the magician squad fan over time. Paushi no center free piano when he tio the send. He find can the brihio learn the beginning my point of view menhold. She only called him PMO it was saying you maybe in my thing. Suddenly my talking point of this. You are cooker, but emotional curing one and called would be one island implement a manner center in a stand just left from Coco one pain my emotional contribution so in your feeling be. You better be shit when I'm at what time is of getting here. How our one nation, you're someone who thinks you hope in the TP, eat the Mac, your fault and they act, hold you for something. Now, what now? Got your mirror path for master me, and the half of morning and be some pity like alcohol steady on. You're some of the who find best if we go over there. So not often you sit in the floor, he needs it, divine the holiday. Decision dame taste FF. We have pin golf as EFRQ scissor off PU2. And that's a rare strength. And Peter fader, and that's a rare strength. By Zay Sissizef. Pin War Carson. Now, active and aim to 6 station technique partners. To control emotions, to not pure fantastic viansamens, a vinera sai ishvavian tea. Ya find you ins, you Christianity, from often piece of emotion. I'm feeling if you I may, and I am teaching manual from the actions. Oh, hipia, even by the dark shield hot to document. He of course not. Kan beamte, Jesus sick of PE than your be chiffon dishes EP. You're human. Amen, men, vice sif, pay be gay. All the days, with the singing mind count, you'll feel anger. Aha, simimi hu kondu, ki de pibe, frustration, pipa, ba safe and fota, tu sempongo, irritation, pindi, and irritation. So, you chew gay. Return on my saying that, Tony Sanofer, come from emotions. There did a failing motive mean you then on many can't contain ya, or yangse, that your office million or eight, no matter, thing that from teen tech and that ambition e, and we have to be well paid, and I use seen it for the rest of my standing really worry. But we seen it up on the own thing, and from getting one up on average here, I'm not doing that in a pound and I get in page, and you're kidding about you know what you're the way question you know, I'm under I'm quite alright. Semi hives bay for Capstein, pine your power. The self-attentive feel the space between feeling or power, having the space on the question of wearable nor acting, can we out him, title form corner complicated, we look at low needle yet, what creators, boy home anywhere, they are organized as sorting with now around instead, not equal fans pound maybe, so work on argument. Station if I've seen one when it's self work when you I can even say what you and they want. That's a set not you. I'll call it some isolation way. Yeah, you know what I would say. So how do you sift PK to one party it to shift perap height variation we in say of from reaction to where response so the how will rational play front him if they find from the go just Friday so from my little fall she for the young so for where I have only all over sheet and yes the eyes I follow channel this machine have you ever seen this 好 the South got PRT 非 arcade say PKRB 的反评 它的场景 can be very short verpations team 我觉得 sense 不 sharp guy egg It starts with awareness. Maki timim korsinnes. May taim piedalki. Yemivire. Versoligi here's pini. Notice your triggers. Kan be whiteest when your body tense the fari taking for the beginning. Frain or when near the tolly venices. Phone in pure deal will be your anti cantinanti fizina. And palmat is when your body tenses. Tina fiesh to bidding, gil daimawa. That car ave min out there, tune cornerings. Pubazy 6 if ping your breath quickens. This rate of faith, pine anav kamurs and def traves or tif, jalbe an awakens and kemania. This on me tias, pr your thoughts race. Criado vai char dinon su pause my huan etitio, and bium pass the signal to low pigo, tina privacy, dice, the signal to buffbius de mort, right? Fats. They so says, perfectly, these are civils in night. He to my good hunt I am. Cuba Z is sif pionge. Take one a eager bay. Take one deep breath. Set timisicti sif pipenat. Judigasin ikan peki. Remind yourself, Evi is create your after hours and kimenov. Tall that I get to true what? Yea, that's talking our nurse. Assess yourself all eighth. And I get to choose what happens again. And children, yes and no, and the easier version is showing some. I listen my inner content. And you want to look in, I kill a shitty on how the same guy. And I've after a hopefully. Sure. Carry a space saw that but to wipe down yet taught them out. One seem year for. Well, we haven't how come gum have an over fast but short arc killing them can hear Gregor. Has me to go only a with a hand and then. And that's the responded way. And a lanes which in that or the trail tunnels and then on that faster and come and the most anyway means yeah, then there when we come no easy means with that once you call it down and call and then I will the match loses the only thing she also what he watches what time can talk about yeah from he will for me actually all that on from Han Hamilton have pay going for you of Pierre Hoidi for the point more to the safe your wine tin join some you can not shows in the comment to go some segment anything we got you for Jan way see from and call in how you feel you in the moments comfort how you in the moment the chance is a community sign that in the community and shin small favam sa page and pew value suspin key a over time Tiu for you fit pit the veil shoe and cloud. Now, if we keep Hawaii to passion, to be in a bifa, so it's veil cipher as a PD. This becomes a second nature. And when I insist, Kyun the near self forward, less at top, tall and taper, short night P eating there. You'll find yourself less red hole, y'all that Honda about things that you too saying, oh, here are you off biting cool. That's about that. I'm going to how you have eaten at that. Yeah, I'm holding that stars are easy in the unit or 20 amount of sense or I think all both sense in a penny hiding famous and it's a high level that sound of your hiding you now your body. What can you do? Yes, us or pies or seven if you don't show us that. My father was a pion from Hanof, but a pure duck on the pie. The owl venting the nation in Dresden need to shout in the tower. You also carry condition the panels of an third when we start counter carrying a quiet defend of our lot the granite and a granite for no round there. I turned down a great night to one in those sandies and fun men or an nurse and for me just in a positive to shout it. But that's not yet. I'm going to have that's nice and I think cool and the mission of Geo. I'm like you would kind of know what I am here. And then see how I go and the Zesmaknesabi versus art, Sisigif, doesn't need to buy anything, Yisan to Shang Schwarted and the Chamry, don't you? Tiambani Siaja, Isos war Yuri, but course you had a mission is, brings the information that way, Chidu need to tofu anything. Din passa yimi pinda way off, say Queen de way Leo Baito, the Amos Jimin Eek, serendipity to pain win point, sick at, doesn't need to the win in every the battle, bass on the tongue that, and live was by very keen with. Contestation of the memory team you name Canada, of what I mean in a good area, so they're all association, and you never say inside him as in general. Because real strength Bach isn't about doing you sorry opakro for toing strong remedies conscious your words are fair different about moray and unable to frame fit of midnight cause the willing tolerance and repair of somebody goes or is involved in ammonia linking with a wiring can on the eating and no any human on a call of square but then it'll just and that is in going yes in it or zero don't fancy was not any hand on in no passage. Kiusers tiken of P-perskent, betides per dal case crane of there. It's here in Pinov and about mastering yourself. It's about mastering yourself. As a ham is a bafian mastering yourself. And as she's saying, Vanest of Heimat Tave, for Odes have indigo, coin with last time what's due. P-bow, Pumi, there was a stavican, and only event price has tree. Of Kida, Tomanat, lifestyle say test you. He may far new PDS. 上片，那平么既小美的，那是小，那这戏曲去，是我有救的对学呀，就去，那妈咪是，那看着片，找到去，any not, they am cubo seek, sif pimini on anyone can react is I. He found he saying that champesudum keftar. He someone sit to me in taden. Coaxes soccer tautani, a tedija spar, ke tifolision, or fame tesash ajusu, came this vistonum to respond. Kai will found so stemmy gosnen and yarding a mod and weak fi tike, a homimi esina, or vaca up a cubes 6p. Digil in gain it dozen mean. You're weak. The says so, keep a safe, your came, you should, bears asses. Tias is you a tip on the RS, it means you're in control. You eat the best fancy polation tonic, see when the change begin rest, you are in getting gear much away for them. How stewie be seriously, how big use of that, hand of hand to controlling, it didn't set, kind of surprise, and the current joke. He's a man that is so happy. Come my new worth RT the real strout. That's why I'm being nice at click. Then it almost set for non-tomker. Then you some saying is tough. You net's real strength. One day the channel you was six. It taught a turbian heavy mint. It takes over her vans. Pointed to your piece, their son. Certainly, Samato, Shahu concentrate Rabias, King Shrisha. They send a itinerary. I made enough to say. Rather, say, one feet to you as a temporary has the in the Shank and you with no in. Or no monkey, number yet, sending a chain, my audience. Only say, yeah, he wasn't in color. She was sitting like it was a boy. The women you are. Hinge symbol for them. TSA 6 soupy anti-pass de he'll control other people. You kill other people 没有，就所以凭我第一性也放你发咖啡天 for control other people. 我那我这是 kid for other people. And the key first row called control their words absolutis. Has some peer and I can't your words come to your car computer. You can't come to saying an optim come with assumption. P him who then control their words. 5 me te q edifies pup key their choices. Saul go see shipukimi says the shisief pime the moods. Kimavir damokas jutsisak the already do. Nai the chivifer the zishanti f pinu are or their actions. Viu pava mevkit shomin chanayin and he chiving he can shrundet one attribute. You can't control what you can work together is Shensen they killed all in 10 and game you. Yeah, I think Clark can chirp only. You could apply for something that's not divine inclination and medical safe and the end hold what they think control what they say about you. To te amupmt QBDC sif cave p taint of it to how how they treat you, Don't want been there enough. We from Baidas, with your theory, your CUL, choose a copy, you won't from ballazing passes. You are a braver Kiragusha. That guy, if you will, there and pining DA, yes, I said on the right is. Matty decision always says your boundaries, no. Why can head of the air can, or as paper as your gaze. He keep to an hour Dave. Can then hampede. But Kiers was what couldn't control yosan tefni. He had control you. Who was from Kent, 20 candidate are called the same. And yenter rule. She went to home to our radio. From the make couldn't you go? Hearing that, I didn't tell you go. You're going to be the call as you might do so much for a thing and kid. What's that Tishan say? Condition to just also your thoughts for me or by che. The true ones. You cover pew time, Q boss, you see if pewin, if beyond a yai question ping, your reactions. But does this if ping aim me, your energy, be simulhani bath up you harm her or say, Hawnik Mivtinzan, they you interview rain, either I am in for again. And that's where your real PowerPoint of using. Schubert Paul, and that's develop power yard of time in the streets. That channel in, and that's where your real power lives. En zo had ik al de delft termiten aanverbrand. En als ik koning aanschi afpas, haar street te manren uit, am touchen van de two fires daar kan. En zo martem averages konus, het Greek war talent, 10 of 15 year old. And the lunch were short and they we were made us conquer for short thing, and so we had the article. It's all about in Poma in a central, and my daughter and any of you go, I had a temporary university, and I was that the recording on Kimori de Maya bitumen a cake tuto and sipo. A sif pio tantian mount. Can a sipui or my quaman madi moik a paper to act a certain tongue way and from one cockle to ice as a certain way. Kutter Paul Chuko for the free of Shan Rayusa. 第四行因为九二狂迷没本块，先你确信要想这一天 certain way 的先 treat us a certain ma fe z siftimef can appear the pitiger modus for predicting man he thinner thighs you have been hard off the rate can ban and chiese se vui opm for sanite it can agree with our perspective diminivery.taf.com parish washington at the sedan again 此是那所参和态 but the more you try to confront the Gomoshiani Mefini, I also pay him, the more he condition condition box and about something he can date, and the colonists of the tomorrow challenge of the time scene, the Kim Kono candidates, no, this time change the account and kill first. They can tell you're exhausted, Kipiuik, the more frustrated and frigos they act you are to become. Fatigued, as can you more drug eyed, and Shinashi Bennett exhausted you become, and more frustrated, and also you may on obviously you can't go in, and then this is going. Come he menonim bidemes or sem mifte varker. The secret is learning at time maneo sorkanam krant. The remunadas on yours ignore yoyan now. Singing on Korean towers and on skill. I'm not a fair good on the economy is a morning Asian home. What like it's NTO's branch. Trying to help who is the base. Cause them was only careful. A summer year of pumping the affiliate. Tomato, you say what Sammy does the way. I was on a cook, I can help her. I find you water, the changes in your own value. And when, exactly, I tell me only peace. So sake of unit or win out your peace doesn't mean avoiding people or shares here say you work on if you pen we find our shouting go on behalf of court find the day often in the court people from the word years from the ruination and now or some counselor we are even that first anyway I don't feel some intimately screen those irons on here say already but also boss I need right and I didn't put all the reason to make sure we write PM view shish the LP deciding I see it. Real really your how every can tell us I go 0 can have and it's near on what against and what's in cases is it your and you losing a fun don't have the median as in a China or almost in John here, even under the cut of your units and your young look at the game war. I won't be satisfying to know. 我已经发生的也许到陌生的原来没发生的事情我常觉得好像更多 Is the quiet confidence of the all the only little tumbinate of the kind coming either often hometown work pin effany kind of the best center the argument you're high older than the cast and I'm young like a court canning the mirror of infinite the rest in the morning the in me and Haiti you're learning for a fan it's really fast and really air noisy guy that's around the often now you don't have for the weekend that are working you want you I hear what I shall at you will you how can you show and then you're saying why the other and generally go out now all getting a crochet and also I guess in the later. Family energies have to show you a sponsor to you and how word your baby issue here. Yeah, at years at active mass tea. What you had to come, but you may catch yourself an egoistic of unfortunately died and passions and lady from favorite key. Strong enough to wonder they no for a piece there and I didn't think they are how in your great intentions in today and so now your way. But how you confess shift the 19th is only water to the way. 还是精神被发动这种饥饿时候我们要学习会扩个难去你三十到我们的是那个外围就是这方面是才会生活在如此样样啊产业了 House of the ingest and there's a pen self-arbitrary You don't have to let someone else's situation是他们一个地方他给每人或者什么人他看，我每天在心里头，我还得挨着他听着嘞，但是有眼我也朋友认识，就用那些我一直在事情，一直那种没有，and 那个他有我的，然后when I'm when around，也听得清楚来我在用高线里面那所以，我常常讲，哎，行了，其实我同人讲人讲我们的人呗。Paying the war for Abini, a can be a pins in my end. Simi no bar, wherein you protect your peace, can a bit in. Yes, seafood fact your peace and the king, we shall when you like your piece of shy. Think when you protect your peer king in. Fady gwent will take the fady can bear. The fact you give them pair sempina sliced head, so tavi that we give yourself permission to stay egg back and then you give yourself permission to quick evident quick for me. For the settling ne cave get hosted to a penny of veg, he will what if someone's never you could choose to get the kenko parking by you see one found a vef by to multiply the cent and canteen name if someone is censorship constantly negative. I'll pay an iron pinkade. You know what something should develop when some iron became distance. Just so I thought use a distance. Pay for danger can, you will use it in your can use a shield use a distance. If a situation doesn't align with a value represent in every instance if there's a situation of value, then more than value yourself. When mammy, I don't think sure units their P, the weathery, everything ancient from just new made recording on your facet and rest of you is to see sufficient values and maintaining more line if no line can skin could be all used. 看他们超光贴显现，提白个的听懂，皮大不及西即是偏我是去看看 and walk away. 15 bon count few, 天明I can pan a but if someone tries to strike a fin not tiger fear, evil first is the free be I family began to provoke you, 下天会发出把你现在就 pretty outfish. And some point kid. So there's be someone tries it to provoke you. You know if man you camping you can style your tents at how of important talk out you can pay the now shouldn't only bien so they cannot take it the bait. You should have to cohorts stay column and don't want dog yeah I can't hold I take not take the bait. I shall harm per can issue the gen hey tabena. Kimot and Nomi seals the teeth and any hamashes. We're not nard remedies that will have further in more tackling force tay now. Real rife, not for you're simply choosing what this work are carrying with it. Girls that you know if the man is been kind of know unless I've been carrying with you. Oh, the one thing on the entirely canyon moment is the hill, but the nonsense of story and with you, and that thing, how me when was saying, there's sound, crazy Christian, washing them or people, doing shit, why don't we do it all the way you? He won't effort 新奇细费，哪是反的愿望里给他分的，西的偏的 P。Okay. But when we eventually never can, can carry awarded, pieces and come back. My him that, got used to series events, P can but 26, P-net, now such a which I'm telling you out to that, I think all the sort hands in here. Keeps a very silly business and that's book on the studios, and sugar Shinjo says that he got up by my accident. Tap here. 这点弄的排流 I force 太用判断万文么些可以比讲的现着，甚现在从慢的看面的三一出发的也是看，因为确实有 meshed every day 许米子，现在天下现在单着天着，所以说，现可能开天赋因为 every day. For Torah, if you pie the CSF, if is built in small moments, the moment you pass, the moment you pause instead of real on the fatino, you know, be a code, and then when you call it as that often, you should not on a spoon wing it like you can, and strike forever that has an open, you know, I'll keep going to in time for the now be moment, and I mean, secondly, I'll be able to lift your hand to and she's so way here, the focus of him yet. She's here, such as so way, I don't fear small, more, only. Tiny person tell that for he bikini kiwe, delia pai, KNN, come misian hero the foray without a comment slide, we might with him to kind of find K. P moment you let a comment slyly personally, and it now don't hero goes I will prove it first that you work and apply until one of them part of the infant, and you furl the same regret early vati. That's is more. I think of how how to go in the most and there's time as an over even can you already know any you in 昨天 Begär self takiniali if can moment human. Gnorson navi korishutin starfind to find out me out for ambition and Tajigun Thomas go gong have been making for Sana Vama going and shape paying from our camera in the second for that you community chance of PC. For the PR in the window in inform part of permanent continuation way. How moment you think we're going to the church account. I do what you want to find me. You know, we're going to identify of the young out only one was what James you like 100 G. How many times you in one you the function that is in the 1 pm cubic sick if p over time you be this tosi and alpha answer for shanley shocking. These choky sheets create a sheet around your piece. Well, can they? Owing the sananier and pink dingy betting, they could be your piece. They want to go back and take the organ towards a he insists to create a shield around the earth or your piece. Ink avic content now announce the patent. It's a comforting like it. Q, the Shabbos is after Mikey. Having hun shoot all the gentlemanity foreign, and some might take this call die. They decide that the quote perfect conchonai. How it fashion is called before those said cis call form, have them on the difference. The changeable darker, and every face on the fainting toffin and 18 on its try to the city areas. Non you eyes, you might soon want it, quantity be there. Communion her sin med pehis, be ye or peace fate chill, but is not thought about not caring. Tamnevivago, Vesa Hwai, now you the ventugo, or Buhao Kauke King, I would get it with you think, peace left here, you know about not caring. If you mean the time around over one challenge heavy is about caring for yourself enough not to course sorry and go, so no what that's of me. Hearing that, yeah, even say Chansi for your shots, the imagine that you mentioned Mrs. Neman call it Eric, for a few and else, support you out, kind of, really shake it if you need in the run transportation. So you get he says, well, with a house and you don't know, you'll be yarn, you go out, so you grab her for you, see what. Shift going out of option, Sim fasiumiev. Williams in the Satan. I down if you put so we go to South China shooting a D. You can pin fan haga. You can still be conquerant. Safety and calling a T finds you joy. Time to cannot on later. And you will be compassionate, still be to be compassionate. The juncture that Sakin Vienna, FIS. Redo meashen and we are summonate. And try on the dar. Hin the fight not some that you fight now about kill what can change in which to see. Joe is in a canal section, the one of the P van phone. The other how do you call your old killer was a can be a terrible being. You'll see how Gilker, you mean to home and follow the woman. Turn on that corner, like I'm going to be a income national train around with the only knives. Now meeting me up from any meeting. Shall know I am meeting the thing of the deal because of all my. This is some of you said, and go dear, and contact was, and then I'm going to produce into your But the quiet, they swear in your inhibition to make an entire of body. Protecting your pee also means setting bounds that your favor, brea, your pace honest that sending an unenchant, but place, siren and beyond. It is getting anything your PCs also means setting boundaries. So you have been he. What's the Mandarin in something that's a task with Thursday, because that's something it is. At crisis, can apply TU wall walls as PRD. Batteries on go yeef, not your wheels, not walls. You said the cancer mavieri for some pen or not walls. But figure out the hessefat, the heavy tawny in the soil. To behave, and to this if it's all in a 5K, you can feel virgin. Yashin respectful to combat all him I could default find a one eater with pet shadow fury not upon the Lara all was out falsity kind in a war and no case will be him none of those to him tomorrow self get him cover on how the camera get ill yeah guys and fear and more fear fine wall is young which against and is a very wonderful one mode for other than was a fed home film now on the one hand or new cover you over and on saying well yeah all of the egg wall if you're going to get it He when you have strong boundaries river truck out the demanding, he pioneer to a gimme so can average credit to many offended yays and tone front carries interim by a phone strong. Britain, I'll find a fellow with another sydney. P-nice. Judicate the vote on Puin, you cannot easily swayed by guilt. You're not easily keen with the reason, named by your guilt. Could special for use. 这进行比用一次批能判法少其实漂亮个 manipulation Kan niet jij zes het even pot van wat wij spelen hem en dat je de stop. Because je beheert chantie zijn there needed to please everyone to make sure bij kwa dan niente jem vakke dan min kan je de heel tjena ja. Neer en because is everyone. Soon is hast bever pafen volume in might. Det man sa skrabbet över en lite man. Just det jag går ju svär ni kvack efter en och så. You should send us en här ni en vanlig. Sen jag vill kolla om jag nej och jag vill ju att your line out för. Inga inte i vad jag kan vara för någon jag osindig. Kvar handsken kunde china gå så rosa av mer recordation for infants and de kan ju lafi. Vi på så often har all going går. Jag tror mig. Pien never prompt soya, showing the full part, pien your PC got a deputy in vanity cardia. Tar P. Megan House the ball not by, will hope that he is the beautiful for Paria, PPS. Can so what you appears of purchase way up when he has them TOs. I won't have been off to yeah, correct. Even him and the only course, you have it when I didn't go people the pinking in the full corner way. You like to get actually the actual you share the for yourself for the kind of as you dancing in your piece. And unsecure inspire others to do and he do the same. Ein wonder hape of words that in your for head class tippiot in a fair sir over the two mason talking to tida sapping like a phony kinebaya then can inspire others aim the same. Shea shene calm becomes Kasika Piri Epic Hook after meal sent my say piao. No, Bishing William Yard, Adia San Calico Haneba, Hin TTR Pinum Pion de, Yose Hamet say, Shilla comics contagious. Teach authority, handio, see of Jew, equal do this, you don't ration me. They chipple with this or in brownie, and down still, or matey, stow she get her bass, is it elite, rabbis, bakpeta, and the 10 you can triscus. Keep the phrase at present poikins learn to equal that a yanks and nina and on the ocean. And you get yourselves in the war, and you got okay, and firstly hard saying is. Is so I even the fun, cutie tenny and more it up. They see that you're steady, P 费发放 they find a way now, fair的偏亏发多成经难的这些人情 they see it, you're steady. Maladin facilitating art, PM 一种 similar expertise, 是说也关于就没办法呀，可平时的 sales， 现在方法当然好一些，哎，没有过你 convert 提升你，也是比那一两给那边你可能换位把空气人听到那满天可能放球了 ，you're stranger never. Or padi de om media safe one. The thing we probably put his all words on the nef. I think when you work and to I've more ten the world that constant way pushes urgency. PT what it won't you anyway and then whatever. It will then have fair shake. But come part they pass on here. You don't call what you're calling again the in all. All the songs I hope in how you was saying say. I will how call them and to me what be PM can you the chan. Tamarot the hike and we have me to the 分品也看了这世界品天而来这种气法看那个 one. Because soyefties, she make me sock, necessity upon the sunharness, sounds magnetic. If the pingo ikari shenanjin each shouture, that you might think by hacking, erefari smenation, is, shamaf be, kekning, zisif. So how do you start? Tiny shot. See our one your one fourth, necessary corners, what have. Entire be yourself, simple to you need as a what fair. Human making donan by Eking yourself 的心，上在面从标本的心，第八分是干这些人，begin 包行两千就快神，也上天不上神，三步就快些一些，还会后挂边上的投缘，更偏明明一更天生高上。The city of Hipuak does this as always. Queen and Dib Disorient, the Catalan Piascation, Forcer Caution Point 110 Rear Sydney AATTA. Rather be, does this deserve my reaction? Ting lai dem values som thesani från a temi, very humility. Almost for their punk or would a kilusha. Asa tausham, does this align with my use? A vast use of sea, there why not going on till with the night here. Nai be piape. Tracy Bartimi, told you this why in the launder is Sam, Abilosh, Shurian Melfin Inkel, one Sammy. This is point, the volume from Rhinon Catchy, to know the good enemy for carelessly. Will this matter in the long run? Emi Yavis recruit as a busy tar if har show if he in a minute keep as of yon shall we. If the answer is no human, Ichin RPNA, all and aftermath. The reason pu you rust in time, a fight you are. Pam Bannon Ping, Avon Rebat toward the one and for an elky, you hold an aces. Nev coven way to tell the king, top have I in, do women you can say king, and I may was do this amount how few can't you was you work a day and are talking hold me and we was on I know it was an alpha fair and they will give clears and the can you at the zero in history. I wasn't telling men equals the winter thing, you know, it was a 40 for what from you, you know, anchor all young world case and we've been the 44 family sandwich are on your alpha or greater vehicle, and I knew it wild boy.